It is 2 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon. The sun is pressing through the window, the house is quiet, and you are sitting in a chair, doing absolutely nothing. And somewhere in the back of your mind, a voice whispers that you should be doing something, that you should be useful, that the world is moving and you are not, and that somehow this makes you less than what you were. I want you to hear this clearly. That voice is not yours. It was installed in you. It was trained into you over decades of alarm clocks and deadlines and responsibilities you never once shirked. And the fact that you are sitting in that chair right now, healthy enough to feel the sun, free enough to have nowhere to be, is not evidence of decline. It is evidence that you did your job, all of it, for a very long time. Now that we have accepted the physical shifts of our early 70s, it is time to address the heaviest psychological baggage we carry, the guilt of no longer being productive. Because this guilt does not arrive with a dramatic announcement. It seeps in during the quiet hours. It hides inside small moments, like watching your neighbor leave for work in the morning while you stand at the kitchen counter, holding a cup of coffee you did not have to rush through. And instead of feeling peace, you feel something closer to shame. That reaction did not come from nowhere. It was built, brick by brick, over the course of 50 or more years. From the very beginning, you were taught a simple and dangerous equation. Your worth equals your output. You were the provider, the manager, the parent who solved the crisis. You spent half a century wearing the uniform of usefulness. But the Stoic philosopher Epictetus, a man who rose from slavery to become one of history's greatest teachers, warned us about tying our identity to things we eventually have to put down. He taught the dichotomy of control, the understanding that true peace comes from separating what is entirely up to us from what is not. Your career, your former physical stamina, and society's expectations are no longer yours to control. But the way you judge this new chapter of your life, that is entirely up to you. There is a profound grief in stepping down from the roles that used to define you. The business cards, the titles, the feeling of being indispensable. You might look at an empty calendar and feel like you have been pushed to the sidelines of your own life. But let us look at the Roman emperor Marcus Aurelius. Even as the most powerful man in the world, he spent the last years of his life writing to himself in his private journal, the Meditations. He constantly reminded himself that titles and public praise are just borrowed clothing. Stripping them away is not a demotion. It is what the Stoics called living according to nature. It is returning to who you actually are beneath the resume. When the titles fall away, you are not left with nothing. You are finally left with yourself. Which brings us back to that chair on a Tuesday afternoon. Society will try to tell you that stillness is laziness, that an empty afternoon is a wasted one. But in his famous work on the Shortness of Life, the Stoic philosopher Seneca offered a brilliant counter-argument. He wrote that it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. He was not talking about productivity. He was talking about presence, about the years we spend chasing obligations that feel urgent, but are ultimately forgettable, while ignoring the quiet moments that hold the most meaning. You have arrived at the part of life where the quiet moments are no longer interrupted. That is not a loss. That is the beginning of Eudaimonia, the ancient concept of a deeply fulfilled, flourishing human life. You do not owe the world another productive hour. You do not owe your children another solved problem. You do not owe your former colleagues proof that you are still sharp, still relevant, still keeping up. You have kept up for a very long time. You have earned the right to sit down. And if that still feels uncomfortable, if the guilt still lingers at the edges of your afternoon, then let it sit beside you. Do not fight it. Do not argue with it. Simply notice it, the way you would notice a cloud passing across the sun. It will move. It always does. And underneath it, if you are patient, you will find something you may not have felt in years. Peace. Not the temporary peace of a finished task, not the fleeting relief of a checked box, but the deep structural peace of a person who no longer needs to perform in order to feel whole. That is not laziness. That is not giving up. That is wisdom. And it has been waiting for you for a very long time. If these words found you at the right moment, I invite you to stay. Subscribe to Golden Years, and we will continue walking this road together, one quiet truth at a time.